So I'm sitting in my chemistry final, question 3, and I can't remember if water is H2O or CO2. Water, the thing I drink every single day, and I'm staring at this paper, genuinely wondering if I'm about to write that water is carbon dioxide. My hands are shaking. I can see the pencils even though I'm only holding one, and the guy next to me keeps blurring in and out of focus like I'm in a fever dream. This is hour 72 of no sleep, 3 all-nighters in 1 week, and in that moment, watching my brain completely malfunction over the chemical formula for water, I realized something terrifying. I didn't feel like I was taking a test. I felt like I was dying, and the worst part? I got a C-. After sacrificing 3 entire nights of my life. After genuinely believing I might pass out in the middle of an exam, I got a C-. That's when it hit me. All-nighters don't make you a grinder. They make you a zombie who's terrible at everything. Look, I know why you're watching this. You've got a paper due tomorrow that you haven't started, or an exam in 8 hours and you haven't opened the textbook, or maybe you're building your side hustle and you think the only way to get ahead is to work through the night. I get it, but what I'm about to tell you is going to sound harsh at first, and then it's going to save your entire semester. All-nighters don't just make you tired, they actually make you dumber. When you stay awake for 24 hours straight, your cognitive ability drops to the same level as if you were legally drunk. Think about that. You're studying for the biggest test of your life with the mental capacity of someone who just took 6 shots. Does that sound like a winning strategy? But here's where it gets even worse. Your brain stores memories while you're sleeping. There's this thing called memory consolidation that happens during deep sleep, where your brain takes everything you learned and files it away into long-term storage. When you skip sleep, you're basically studying hard, and then immediately hitting delete on half of what you just learned. And I know what you're thinking. Okay, but I don't have a choice. The deadline is tomorrow and I procrastinated. Trust me, I've said those exact words about 100 times. But here's the brutal truth. The reason you're pulling all-nighters isn't because you don't have time. It's because you're managing your time like a complete disaster. Let me tell you about my friend Jake. Jake always bragged about pulling all-nighters. He'd show up to class with energy drinks, looking like death, talking about how he grinded all night, and everyone thought he was so dedicated. But you know what? Jake failed out sophomore year, because when you make all-nighters your strategy, you create this vicious cycle where you're always behind, always tired, and always underperforming. The real grinders? They're asleep by 11. I'm serious. The people who are actually crushing it, they're not the ones staying up until sunrise. They're the ones who figured out that your brain is a machine that needs maintenance, and sleep is the maintenance. But okay, let's get practical because I know some of you are in crisis mode right now. If you haven't started yet and it's already past midnight, you're better off sleeping for 5 hours than waking up early. 5 hours of sleep, plus 3 hours of fresh morning work will beat 8 hours of zombie brain work every single time. If you're already deep into it, take a real break every 90 minutes. Not a scroll through TikTok break. A walk, some push-ups, splash cold water on your face, and stop drinking caffeine after 2 a.m. 1 or 2 coffees early in the night. Then switch to water, and when you finally finish, even if you only have 2 hours before you need to be up, set an alarm and actually sleep. 2 hours is infinitely better than 0. But here's the real talk. If you pull all-nighters regularly, you need to hear this. You're not going to make it. I don't mean that to be mean. I mean literally you cannot sustain this. Your body will give out. Your grades will tank. Your mental health will spiral. Or all 3 at once. So what's the actual solution? It starts with something really simple. You need to do 10 minutes. That's it. 10 minutes of work on your project the day you get the assignment. Not 10 minutes of planning. 10 minutes of actual work. Opening the document, writing 1 paragraph, reading 3 pages. Because starting is the only thing that actually matters. When you do 10 minutes right away, something magical happens. The project becomes real instead of abstract. That paper that seemed impossible suddenly has a first paragraph. And suddenly it's not this massive scary thing anymore. And 10 minutes tomorrow becomes 20 minutes. And 20 becomes an hour. And suddenly you're finishing things days early while everyone else is melting down. I started doing this last semester and I haven't pulled a single all-nighter since. My grades actually went up. Not because I'm working more hours, but because the hours I'm working are with a brain that actually functions. I'm sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night. I'm retaining information, and I actually have more free time now because I'm not spending entire nights panicking and producing garbage work. You can't hack sleep. You can't cheat biology. All-nighters aren't a flex. They're a red flag that something in your system is broken, and you can fix it starting today with just 10 minutes. So here's what I want you to do. If you're in crisis mode right now, finish what you have to finish, but make a promise that this is the last time. And if you're watching this to avoid future all-nighters, open your calendar right now and block out 10 minutes tomorrow for whatever project is stressing you out.
Just 10 minutes. You can do that. Your future self is either going to thank you or hate you, based on what you do right now. Let me know in the comments if you're committing to the 10-minute rule. Let's level up together. Because we're way too young to be this tired all the time.